to disagree slightly, James, if I may.
Only slightly. You can disagree a lot if you want. Go on.
There's 2 points that come to mind. And that is, one, Keir Starmer is a leader. He is someone who is there to lead.
Yes.
Not necessarily to manage, not necessarily to negotiate. We have other people to do those things. He is there to set an example and be someone that I would want to feel wish I was a bit more like them. Now, I don't feel that about Keir, because I wouldn't behave that way towards Trump. I'd want somebody to be a bit more like Obama, a bit more like Mark Carney, a bit more like, someone who would stand up to the bully, because bullies don't get stood up to by individuals.
Well, it depends how much power they've got. I don't know. I mean, I admire Mark Carney, and I think you're right, but Canada and the UK are very different places, and of course, the punishment beatings that Canada is currently receiving are it's not even possible that we'd be able to sustain similar. We certainly wouldn't be able to sustain what Brazil is currently enduring.
But, and I agree with all of that, but then again, you don't stand up. It's only once you start standing up to the bully that eventually enough people stand up and the bully gets taken down. He can't be taken down individually. It has to be by collective action, by a group of individuals who get together, and together they are stronger than the bully. And that doesn't start with everyone kowtowing to the bully.
No.
You've got to be in a position where everyone who you want to be like, as in, I want to feel like I wish I was more like that person, because they have stood up to them. They have started this ball rolling. There will be punishment. There will be difficulty, but I can get behind a leader like that. Whereas if you're telling me, well, I've kowtowed, I've grovelled, he said he won't be bad to me. He said he won't take my land. He said he won't invade. He said he won't this. He said he won't that. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Don't matter about them. They'll be, no, I don't want a leader like that. I want a leader that I can get behind, even if it's difficult.
I do too. I know. I could, if you were here, I'd grasp you like Eric Morecambe grasping Ernie Wise and give you a big kiss on the forehead. Because I agree with every single thing you've said, and yet somehow I disagree at the same time. I've also got Brexit bouncing around in my brain at the moment, because I wonder whether, absent Brexit, if we hadn't done that really stupid thing, which of course Trump recognised as an act of enormous self-harm because a weakened UK suits him down to the ground, then Starmer could have played a role a bit like the one Gordon Brown played during the international financial crisis. But we've got no friends.
But wasn't Brexit
There's no one we can call.
A failure of leadership?
Yes, Brexit was a huge failure of leadership, but it has left us completely isolated, and it's left that, I would argue, if we were going to get academic about it, that even if Starmer wanted to be the man that you describe, and I'd much rather be led by that man, and I oddly think Keir Starmer is probably capable of being that man, but not in this context. It's a bit like, after Brexit, you decide you're going to stand up to Donald Trump, so you get your contacts book out, and there's no one in it anymore.
That's true, but I mean, and this is very much a feely thing,
Yeah, I feel what you feel.
Doing that,
yeah.
I would attract those people back. They would start to say, oh, actually, here is something we agree on. We disagreed on Brexit, but guys, we need to get together to take action on this big threat that is affecting us all. Let's step in the right direction. If they look across and they say, well, look, they thought they'd do better with Brexit. Well, that's obviously a lie. And now they're sort of kowtowing. This doesn't bend, this doesn't get me going in the right way. I would think you would start new alliances, new allegiances, new sort of, you'd collect together this group of people who eventually would be strong enough to take on the bully. And you have to start somewhere. I'm just not seeing that at the moment. It's probably better in the short term for the country, financially, in other ways. But since when has that been what you want to get behind and believe in?
What if Keir Starmer adopts... So I'll tell you, the leader that you're describing actually is Sadiq Khan at the moment. The Mayor of London has spoken out in the strongest of terms about who Trump is and what he represents. And Sadiq Khan is able to do that, but I don't think he would be able to do it as Prime Minister. I don't know, of course. It's a counterfactual, but I don't think that he would. And as you say, it's feelings you're describing, and that's why I've been at pains, and I possibly have failed this morning, to explain that offering up warm words makes me feel awful. I've used words like curdle. It's a hideous position to be in. It's why I've played out all these clips. But standing up to bullies is not always the answer. I'll say it to you, Cameron. I'm flashing back now to 1986 in North Yorkshire, when a housemaster said to me, you must always stand up to bullies, and I said, what if you're the bully, sir?
That is fair. But hang on, here's another one. In every workplace across the country,
yes,
you will have, if you work in an office of any description, anti-bullying policies, and, you are required to call out when someone behaves badly. It is the only way to change behaviour.
Except most people won't, and the only people that will, with a few glorious exceptions, will be people who are potentially more powerful than the bully. And you're right, you can make your own power by making alliances. Yes, I mean, look, my pendulum's not swinging, because I don't think he has any choice, but my God, I wish he did, which is probably the point of agreement between us, except you're a little bit closer to thinking that he does have a choice.